Welcome back. It's now time to review episode 8 of season 44 of Survivor. First up, The Challenge.
The Challenge. Okay, this was, first of all, just a really solid episode, okay? So,
it's your favorite so far, I know.
Honestly, yeah, it might have been my favorite episode of the season so far. So, anyway, in this challenge, they compete in pairs, okay? So it's like an obstacle course, and they compete in pairs all the way to the last round, and then it's individual, okay? So this first one, they have to go through this net thing that's completely twisted, and just
those are actually really hard anyway to like walk on or crawl through.
Yes, yeah, and I didn't have any picture or video of this, but if I was Carolyn in the episode, that's how I would have been going through this net, because it looked really tricky to get out of, and she never could really get out of it. It was really quite funny to see. But yeah, so after they get through the net, then they have to like build, I think it was like a ladder of sorts, and get up to a platform. And then they had to build a bridge across that or something like that. And then at the end, there was 4 of them left, which I think is this next picture. Yes, and they had to look at you. It's probably hard to see it at home, but
well, at least
tiny little ridges where your feet go on.
Yeah, that would hurt after about a minute.
How bad that hurts. Yeah, and we talked about this with last week's challenge. You know, you think about balance, like. They've been out there, I don't know, 15, 16 days. You're not eating much. You probably have zero strength, zero energy.
And I bet they're really pushing on their arms a lot too, just to kind of take the pressure off their feet.
Yes.
So you're wearing out head to toe.
It would be really tough. Now, with the 4 of them up there, the winner of this challenge was the sole woman left, Lauren,
which was
really exciting. Yeah. It was really cute too. She was like really excited. She's a teacher. She also has multiple kids of her own. So she was like, this is for my kids, both at home and in the classroom. And that was kind of fun to see. So
she's kind of been a little bit quiet this whole season, I feel like, but I like her.
Yeah. And something I'm really loving about this cast is although it's super competitive and I think there's a lot of strong players, I do feel like they're really supportive of each other, which is kind of nice to see.
Very refreshing.
Yes. Now, the tribal was really exciting, but before we get to tribal, I want to kind of talk about the dynamics when they got back to the beach in between, right? So what's crazy is they automatically think, okay, we're just going to take out Franny, because there's kind of like 2 sides. Well, there's really 3 sides of the beach right now, okay?
Right.
And it's funny because while one half of the group thinks that they're going to take out Franny, the other half is developing a plan to keep Franny, okay? And what people may not know is that Danny still has that idol from like the beginning, because he got the bird, remember the bird cage?
Yes.
Danny got the idol from that, but still has not been used. Yes, yes. So it's been really interesting to see how these different things are going to play out.
Are you remembering these things? Like, I would never have remembered he still had that either, and I've been watching the season. So did you know that, or did it just remember that whenever you saw it?
I remember that Danny had it mostly because I just remember he was one of the originals. I could not tell you the other advantages people have right now, but I do remember because he might actually be the only person with a real idol right now. I don't know that for sure, but I think so.
There's a few fakes still out there, right?
Yes, yes.
I want to see those played.
We get to tribal council, right? And it's interesting because the plan that they have out there is still that Franny is the one that is going to go, but when they go to vote, that is not what happens. Brandon gets blindsided because Franny gets most of the votes, right? But Danny whips out the idol that he had left, uses it on Franny, and Brandon had a few votes against him, which was really interesting. Now, what's even more interesting about this is Brandon this entire season has been very like alpha male, very strong, thinking that he's kind of running the game, if you will, you know?
Yes,
this was his
but
exit video
I
with all
think
the votes,
sometimes that makes him really a target.
Yeah.
You know? It reminds me of Danny from a previous season that was just really strong and a good player, and then he was a target.
Well, and what's interesting too, if I remember this right, so producer Charles and I found last week that this was actually the first tribal, I believe, that Brandon was vulnerable at, because that very first one he used his idol, and then he's been safe ever since then. So this was the first one he was vulnerable at. He went home. So that's kind of interesting. That the first
he may have been a target earlier had he
he
gone to tribal council.
Yeah. So I don't know. I am really, 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 really interested to see where this season goes, because as I've said, really strong players, really strong cast, right? And I really don't know who's gonna win.
Well, who are you thinking has really a good chance?
Here's the thing. I almost think you can make an argument for any of them, but here's who's really sticking out to me. I still think Carolyn's game is really strong. Really strong, right? She actually sells an idol. That's the other person that's got it. She's never used her idol.
From Birdcage.
Yeah, and I don't think people even think or suspecting that she does.
And I don't understand why they didn't know that from the beginning, you know?
Absolutely.
But anyway.
So I still think she's really strong, and the thing is, I don't think people are looking at her heavy enough for her to even be like a huge target right now. So I think she's good. Carson, I'm interested to see how he plays out. I think he's playing a strong game, but I think people could pick up on the fact that he's a strong player because he's kind of been playing both sides a little bit. So I'm interested to see if that backfires.
We've kind of liked him from the beginning just because you got to interview him. And he was just genuinely a nice person.
Yeah. Also, my eyes are kind of on Franny too, because Franny lost her like showmance Matt a few weeks ago, and I've been really interested to see how her game was going to change post that. And last week she was saved by Danny's idol. So I don't know. I'm really excited for tonight's episode. I'm excited to see how this shakes out because really anything can happen.
I'm thinking Franny's gonna go home soon.
You think?
That's my bet.
I don't know. We'll see. But as I said, you can catch a brand new episode tonight on CBS, or of course stream it on Paramount Plus.